Listen, Nate. One thing I want to talk about next is Justin Thomas. We talked a little bit about this earlier. This has been a big story this week because he's playing in the 3M. Usually he wouldn't be playing in something like this, but he is desperate for a win. He's desperate for FedEx Cup standings. He has been missing. I don't think he made a cut in any of the majors this year. Don't quote me on that. He may have made one, but he's been missing a lot of cuts in the big events. What's going on with Justin Thomas?
A lot. He's just not play. First of all, Justin Thomas not playing very well. He's had some okay results. He had top 10 of the Travelers. And he played pretty well earlier in the season, but lately he's just been a mess, and it's been a combination of things. I mean, the Open, he just wasn't good at anything. And he also just couldn't avoid the big number. He basically doomed himself after the first round where he shot that 82 or 81. 82. Yeah. And then with a 9 on 18. And it's been a combination of that, which was just bad decision making. And it's also been a combination of the putting is just atrocious. And it's putting that is really important if you want to have a good career. I mean, if you're just sort of measuring him against everyone on tour, putting from 3 feet, he's 142nd. From 4 feet, he's 177th. From 4 to 8 feet, 144th. From 5 feet, 167th. 6, 134th. On and on. He's barely is inside the hundreds on anything short putting wise. He 3 putts constantly. So it's just a lot of, he's 192nd in 3-putt avoidance. So it's just the putting. I mean, the putting is the big thing. And I think that it's starting to ruin him mentally because it's been so bad. I mean, he really hasn't gained strokes putting basically since May. And I think it's starting to just affect all the rest of his game too, because there's just so much pressure that you put on your long game when your putter starts to go south like that, especially when you've not been someone who's experienced this level of struggle for this long, I guess.
Probably ever in his career. He is one of the most creative golfers when you watch him. When he's at the top of his game, he is Phil Mickelson-esque in his ability to escape trouble, just like Jordan Spieth, and basically get up and down for par. So bogey avoidance for him has always been huge. He's a major birdie fest. He's a good putter. I mean, this is what's crazy. I've been watching this guy on tour for years, as have you, as had most people who watch this podcast. Justin Thomas is an incredible putter. So it's just staggering to see these numbers. 3-putt avoidance, 192nd. I mean, that's ridiculous. Especially when you take that Liv stole 40 of the best players. So he's probably more 215. I mean, it's just, that's I'm going to lose my card bad.
I mean, it's crazy because you look at, so he's 75th in the FedEx Cup points, right? So he's got the next couple of weeks to sneak into the top 70 and qualify for the FedEx Cup playoffs. That's sort of goal number 1 for him right now, which is why he's playing this week. So he's 75th in the FedEx, but on tour, he's 43rd in strokes gained total. So he underperforms that by a lot. He's 23rd in tee to green. That's so it's crazy. Just it's crazy that he can be in the top 25 tee to green and might not qualify for the Tour Championship playoff or for FedEx Cup playoffs. It's just insane to me. And that's just bad decision making and bad putting. That's all. And
bad strategy. And we heard this with Fowler earlier, who had a lot of struggles, and then finally won a couple weeks ago. And he's basically look, I had to change there was some sort of mechanics on his actual putting, he added half an inch or something, and was then able to sort of control his stick a little bit better. So some of it could be technology, some of it could be his caddy. So it could be anything. I'm sure it's mental for the most part. You see this with Scotty Scheffler. I see this with DJ all the time. Dustin Johnson's always missing easy putts. Fleetwood, who's an elite putter, when it gets down to some of the most important putts, he's always pushing them. But this is next level bad, because someone like Scotty is horrible at putting, but not this bad. I mean, he's still able to kind of keep it within the one, strokes gained putting 115th. He kind of, sometimes he gains strokes putting or whatever. But for Justin Thomas, it's been horrible.
And I wonder too, I mean, and now we're getting into like conspiracy theory type stuff, but it wasn't too long ago that Justin Thomas and his longtime caddy Jimmy Johnson parted ways, and Phil Mickelson's former caddy Jim Mackay, who sort of walked away from the microphone at CBS as an on-course commentator to go back to hop on JT's bag. And there's part of me that just wonders, like, is this just like some strategy stuff and just sort of like a caddy that doesn't maybe necessarily get the most out of Justin Thomas? You know, nobody's going to say that, you know, Bones Mackay is like a bad caddy. He's had so much success in his career, but like maybe him and Justin Thomas just don't see it the same.
That's important. You can be an incredible caddy and it could just be the wrong fit. So, you know, we'll have to see with Justin this week. I would love to see him get a win. I mean, I don't have him on my card because you can't justify it, but I'd love to see him get a win or finish in the top 5 and start to play better. But there's been no indication that that's going to happen. And I would not be surprised if he finishes T50 or misses the cut, God forbid. So, you know, we shall see. Another guy, Nate, who I love to keep an eye on is Chan Kim on the Corn Ferry Tour. Why don't you give us a little Chan Cam?
Chan Cam. Chanimal is still just grinding out that Corn Ferry schedule. He is in Glenview, Illinois this week at the Glen Club, as it's called, for the NV5 Invitational presented by Old National Bank. We're just working through some things. I mean, Chan Kim, much like Justin Thomas on the PGA Tour, is struggling with the bulkiest of putters right now. And we're pretty much just treading water in between that sort of 38 to 45 range that he's been in basically since the season started. So not looking awesome. Probably another season on the Corn Ferry Tour in Chan Kim's future, unless he can win. But for now, Chanimal's looking like a KFT guy for a little while longer.
That's fine. We love the Corn Ferry. Nothing wrong with the Corn Ferry.
We do. Nothing wrong with the Corn Ferry.
No reason to be throwing shade at just a really, really great tour that can help us identify some really hot rookies that come off that tour and go to the PGA. Okay, so